Welcome to the Be Legendary podcast. This is a place where we'll kill excuses, smash goals, and be legendary. This is not an annoying ride on a school bus. Listening to Kids Bop. I am your host, Beamer. Today we're going to talk about keeping your eye on the ball. I want to take you back to Salina, Utah, 2004. North Severe versus South Severe. It was cold, wet, rainy autumn evening. Now, this is a big deal in our community. We have a community of about 4,000 people. Our football team had literally won one game in 4 years. This was our Super Bowl. This was us versus our rival. This was all we had. We didn't have to win them all. We just couldn't lose this one. The game was very tight. The score was 6-12, and we're coming down towards the final end of the game where it's do or die. We either score or the game is over. We probably passed the ball that whole game about 3 times. We were 5 feet from victory, 5 feet from redemption, 5 feet from validating that, hey, that one win in 4 years was not a fluke. We're the real deal. They call my number. They said instead of running the ball like we have the other 97 plays, we're going to get creative and actually fake a handoff, throw it to you. You're going to win the game for us. Break the huddle, get out there. Quarterback says hike, turns around, fakes the handoff to a running back. I run to the end zone. I turn around, and I see it. Just majestic as all get out. Football coming to me, and right as it hits my chest, I decide that I'm going to start thinking of, am I going to celebrate? What's it going to feel like to finally win another game? It wasn't a fluke. I'm a balla, shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala. I'm the man. It's me. As soon as I look down to bask in my glory, the ball had hit the turf. I fall to my knees. Failure. Disappointment. Letting my team down. All the blood, sweat, tears that we had been through as a team, all for naught. Now I picked myself back up. I went to the huddle. Some were pissed at me. Some gave me words of encouragement, but I couldn't shake how I felt. Our coach said, okay, if at first you don't succeed, try again. We are going to run the same play over. This time, though, it's going to be on 2. Get back out there. This is my shot. I'm going to redeem myself. I'm going to win the game. I'm going to take it back. Quarterback says, hut 1. I take off. I turn around, and everybody's still standing there. The defense is looking at me like, what's this guy doing? At that point, after we get moved back, 5-10 yards, coach calls a timeout, rips me a new one. I can still hear his voice like it was yesterday, just in a high-pitched scream. Beamer, how could you drop it? You were wide open. As fate would have it, we lost the game that day. I remember going home, waking up the next morning and wondering, man, how am I going to be able to get back up and go to school, face everybody? My school had 300 people. I couldn't just hide what happened the previous day. I remember as I was getting back into my truck to go to school, there was a note on a yellow line paper. I opened up the note, and it was from my dad. I don't remember all the contents in it, but I remember it telling me that he loved me and that life wasn't about what happened to you, but how you reacted it. You reacted to it. And that little gesture, that little note really stuck with me for the rest of my life. And I had to go back to school the next day. I had to get up. I couldn't sleep in. They wouldn't let me stay home. They wouldn't let me just bask in my sorrows and say, oh, I'm depressed, woe is me, somebody make excuses. I had to go face the music. And that experience changed the way I approached football. I made a decision that day that for the next 300 and some odd days before next football season started, that I was going to put in the work. That these blood, sweat, and tears were not going to be for naught. That next time my number was called, I was going to win. So, as fate would have it, nearly 1 year to the day, the exact same spot on the field, the exact same end zone, we called a play that was for me. Very first series of the game, it was 0-0. Now, this game had a symbol of importance. It was our first playoff game in nearly 15 years. They called my number. This time, the quarterback threw it. I kept it in, kept my eye on the ball. I scored the first touchdown. Now, as the game progressed, it went to a 3 overtime deficit. We had the ball, very last series. My number was called again. Throws me a touchdown. We make a defensive stand and we win the game. That time my number was called and I was ready. And I remember looking out in the crowd as the crowd rushed the field. It was our first overtime win, playoff in the last 15 years. And I remember looking out at the crowd and thinking, you know what, this is it. All that blood, all the sweat, all the tears, it was for all of this. And to this day, it was one of the most satisfying moments of my life. And there was a point the year before when I thought, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm not going to win. Maybe I shouldn't even play next year because I know how bad I let everybody down. Personally, after the season was over, I was nominated to an all-state tight end. So not only did I receive the personal reward, but our team won their first playoff game in 15 years. And maybe it didn't all directly correlate with that, but a few years later, a younger group was able to win a state championship. We are not a football powerhouse by any means, but that's what showed me is that what we do and how we bounce back from adversity can lay the foundation for other people's success. And that's what I'm here to do with you. Now, that's the purpose of this podcast. It's to be able to take the trials, the everyday struggles, the things that come at us that we fail, money problems, divorce, debt, failure, being fired, whatever the adversity is, and to be able to take it and learn from it. Now, the next episode, we're going to have a man that's very near and dear to my heart on. Not only is he going to help develop your business, but he's also going to teach you how to live personally. He goes by the nickname Vegas. He goes by El Padrón, the Godfather. None other than my man, Lanny. So with that being said, I've got a lot of positive feedback from everybody about this podcast, and they always ask me, how can we help you? We don't want your money. The best way to help me and to help yourself, go subscribe to the podcast. The YouTube page, which is in the link in my bio, it's AndreAndersonAz. So that's youtube.com/AndreAndersonAz. Now, this podcast is for you. It's going to be able to provide you with the tools that you need and everything that's going to help you be successful. Because in life, we have two choices. We can either be how I was in the beginning, drop the ball and be basic, or we can choose to be legendary.